Some games just stick with you. It could be that there were some amazing characters, a philosophy presented that challenged you how you looked at the world, or maybe you just enjoyed one character's assets more than you thought you would.
Oh my god!
Titties too.
What the fuck? Are you crazy? Holy shit!
I know I'm gonna get some hate, but I'm kind of a Tectone fan, and frankly, he's one of the easiest people to get as far as getting clips for talking about how hot a character is. I also played Nikkei a little bit. I know. Anyways, I'm Adam the Horror Historian, and today we are not doing horror history. Instead, we are diving into the world of game theory. When it came to playing anything by Play Dead, I instantly seemed to be enthralled by it. The lack of defined narrative forcing you to figure out what's going on for yourself, the simplistic art style that manages to be both charming and sometimes outright disturbing. The more I play and think about these games, though, I realize I have no idea what is going on. So I am forced to think about it more, and Inside is one of those games that has stuck with me since playing it. So in this video, I have a few theories about the game Inside. Some I have from playing the game myself, and some I have read from other places. The first one is rather subtle, but if you paid any attention to the game and the one that came out prior called Limbo, you should be able to pick this one up. The world that Inside takes place is the same one that takes place in Limbo. And it's all down to one enemy present in both. The maggots. Now that isn't what the game calls them because the game doesn't name anything. But it's what the fandom site calls them, and saying little white worms over and over again just doesn't work for me, so maggot it is. They are first seen in Limbo in the factory section of the game, and they seem to have the ability to use mind control on the main character. They can really be a pain in the ass, but like most things in the game, they can be dealt with easy as long as you figure out the puzzle they are a part of. The maggots are also found in Inside, and right towards the very beginning of the game. There's a wild hog that attacks the player while in the farmlands, and it has one of those maggots coming out of it. They are seen other places, but this is a much larger implication than just a similar enemy type. Both seem to have a measure of mind control, but when removed from the hog, all aggression ends. These worlds are the same. The game of Inside is a direct sequel of Limbo. The worms here are more prominent. They are more than just the player character, and it seems like the whole game of Inside has the theme of mind control. It's the evolution of something that was found in nature only to be studied and used by some sort of scientific or government entity. Speaking of mind control, the next one talks about the huddle. This one is actually named by the game devs. And this one I feel has a little bit more standing, though I 100% believe the first one. This theory is one that has the player character being mind controlled by the huddle the entire time. The first indicator for this is the progression of the story. If I was looking to escape, like the main character seems to be, the last place I would want to be going is breaking into a facility run by the people I'm trying to get away from. Instead of going away from danger, we seem to be pushing further and further into dangerous areas with no noticeable purpose other than eventually combining with the huddle. There is a secret ending to the game, though. The player character basically becomes idle. It's no longer receiving any inputs once the mind control device is disconnected. This would imply that, like I said earlier, that the player character is being controlled the entire time. Eurogamer has an article saying there may be a different entity controlling the main character that isn't the huddle, but one of the scientists. There actually is some minor support for this, and it could have to do with the secret ending. Does it make sense that the huddle would want to shut everything down unless it also somehow shut itself down in the process, wishing for its own death? When you do the normal ending, however, there seems to be moments in where some scientists are helping out the huddle in its escape. The laziest article I've seen on the whole thing is from that of Kotaku. No shocker if you've kept up with anything from that site at all, but it was easier to use this than find the two Reddit users they are quoting. What if this is actually Limbo's prequel? In the secret ending, the boy disconnects himself from the mega blob and stays in the same position as all the dead guys in the game, what if he is not actually dead, so he can't go to either heaven or hell, so he goes to limbo? This one is interesting, something which kind of states the opposite of what I think personally by switching which game comes first in the chronological order, but I don't really see any other evidence that points in this direction. But I do appreciate this one, because they're trying to think outside the box. The second one the author uses is a bit more interesting to me personally and can be plausible. The alternate ending is just pure meta. The boy is unplugging us, the player, the actual human. It's a commentary on control and gaming in general. There's an irony that we control a character who controls others, that we are the true controller and the boy finds the innards, inside, of the system unplugging our grasp on him. I think this one is actually fairly solid. I personally like the idea of having real story meaning instead of the meta, but it could be possible that the game devs actually wanted to make the commentary that the mind control was that of the player and not any of the storyline characters, constantly pushing forward through the game despite the dangers ahead of you like we do in almost every game. I hate Reddit. I'm sorry, I just don't understand people's obsession with the site and I hate the layout of it, but I'm sure there are some interesting ideas presented there. I think it's a shame that 2 of these are used in the laziest article I've seen in a long time. Now this one came out in 2016, so I hope the writers stop posting slop wherever they are now, especially the last idea would have been nice to at least added a sentence or two discussing the merits of it. Seriously though, if that was the dev team's intention, I feel kinda dumb because I never would have put that idea together myself. These are just a few theories of the game and what it means. Maybe my takeaways are too literal and the last one was the correct one. I'm not sure, but what do you think? Any theories you prefer over the ones I mentioned? Did I miss something that should have been super obvious but just flew over my head? Let me know in the comments. Again, I'm Adam the Horror Historian. It's a little different than what we usually do here, but I wanted to touch on this game because I happen to love it a lot, and I just want to talk about things that I enjoy. Thank you again for watching. Much love. Bye now.